A big hello and a warm welcome to all of you amazing and beautiful people out there. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this collective reading. Before I start this reading, I want to mention that this reading has come to me via auto writing. It's an intense collective reading, and you and me both are chosen one for this because you cannot be a part of something like this, a part of this kind of simulation without being chosen for it. So, what I can perceive from this while I was channeling it and while I'm sharing it with you is that I feel empathized with anybody who has anything to do with this type of energy. But at the same time, I feel that we're all volunteers here on earth. We are playing a part, we are playing a character, and we must not only learn to detach from the character when the time is right, but at the same time, we must be prepared for anything that comes up our way. And the best way to be in any situation is via surrender, knowing that whatever source or masters have planned for us is correct. And if you miss that feeling or you skip that feeling, and there are days or there are moments, maybe it's not going on for the whole day, but if there are days or there are moments or there are hours where you feel pain or you cannot surrender, it is okay. There is no judgment. Don't judge yourself. There will be people who will make you feel guilty about it. There will be people who will make you feel guilty about the questions you ask or the pain you go through. They might use ignoring you as a tactic sometimes to help you because they cannot understand your emotion. And therefore, you have to be your best friend. You have to be someone who has to bring you out from any darkness you face. I hope there is no noise affecting this collective reading. Even if there is, then we have to surrender to it. Now, some of you may not be able to understand what's good in this collective reading or this kind of emotion that you have faced in life, whatever you have gone through in life. Some of you will question, why did I have to go through this? Why was I chosen one for this? Like, this is the worst. This is the worst that can happen to anyone. Or this can be one of the worst experiences of life. But I feel you were chosen one for this because you can pray for little boys and girls. You can request to universe selflessly. You can be the one who can imagine a safe world for the upcoming generation without looking for what's in it for me, what am I going to get in this by doing this. You have probably felt guilty, bad, punished, and you don't always feel happy about being the chosen one for this experience or for this simulation. But you have the capability of a selfless soul, a pure soul, a volunteer soul who can change something about this world. I will not go very deep into it, what, how, when, why, but you possess the potential, the capability. Because usually many people won't care. Even if it's happening right in front of their eyes, even if they're seeing it, even if they're a part of it, they will still say, I don't want to be a part of this, or it has got nothing to do with me, or it is too difficult. And maybe they're right about it. Maybe they're getting affected by it. So they cannot turn it around. The impact of it, the negativity or the pain or whatever they feel, frustration, maybe anger, why do you have to do this? They cannot turn it around because they have not experienced it firsthand or in some way, shape or form. So they are like, okay, it's not for me, I cannot do anything about it. But you can. So there is no judgment for anybody else also. And there is no judgment for these little boys and girls. The coming generation, the coming world has to be a better world, a safer world, because we are now going ahead in time. We are here to contribute. If you're a twin flame, starseed, or a light worker, you are here to contribute to this planet, and especially if you're doing this type of inner work. There is some responsibility on your shoulder which you've always felt. Maybe something very crucial depends on this. Maybe you pray to God. Maybe you worship Lord God Almighty with a humble heart, with a pure heart, and you're really wishing there's something, someone, something around you. You wish that this person is not, this person or this energy is not like this. Some of you could be parents. So before you were parents, maybe you did not know that you can feel this way. I think some of you, without being parents, also have a very maternal and paternal energy. You're a very good, very caring human being. So even if you not going to give birth to a child, you can still pretty much feel like nurturing and caring or providing for anyone like that, who's a child, or maybe you have a mission. You have that energy. Maybe it's for animals, maybe it's for environment, maybe it's for kids. You are like that. So you want that such people should not be in your periphery. Such people who can harm others should not be in your periphery. Such people who have the predatory instincts should not be around you. Because you don't want more victims. You don't want anybody to be victimized by such people. And if you have lived in a world where predators were in your family, they were your relatives, they were in your school maybe, they were your tutors, or whatever kind of predators, wherever they were, if you have already experienced it, they were maybe working for you, they were employed by your parents, they were your servants. If you've seen such people mingle very easily, very smartly, being predators, being abusers, they were mingling with normal people, then you are one of those people on this planet who have seen the psychos, you have seen this side of them. Therefore, you have become very careful. Therefore, you are careful, caring person as well. And you could be having fears as well. So we are going to try to release some of these fears. And the way I do my collective readings, if you have already been a part of this channel, you know the intention is to help people release. And I would like to say you can use the content of this channel for your healing, but you can also work with me one-on-one. This is not an advertisement, this is just information. And you can check out the description box for all the details for therapies and personal sessions and readings. Also readings I do using tarot and auto reading, and I talk to spirit guides. And that's why I'm saying you could be a very gifted person, but you still need healing. Lots and lots of gifted people need healings sometimes, because we all are here for certain work, and we all can forget. The best of the best can forget. They can get negative, they can get irritated and annoyed, and they can probably think I should not surrender to my own intuition sometimes. You doubt your own intuition, so you can doubt another person's intuition as well. Anyway, now what is the main crux? The main crux is that now that you're an adult, probably there is a child around you, or there are children around you, and you fear if they have been abused by someone, or you fear someone could do that to them. So you're trying to create some kind of security, protective energy. You are trying to create an environment which is safe for them. And you are probably thinking, how can I do it, God? How can I do it? I'm a nobody. I don't have the, like I said in the beginning, you have the capability and the capacity, but you could be going through those emotions that I don't have the capability, I don't have the resources, I don't have the capacity to create a beautiful world, a safe world. But you are willing to go to any length You're willing to go to any point to contribute to it, but still, a part of you says that this should not happen. So give me something else, give me some resource, give me some power, give me something, some energy that I can make this world a beautiful world. Now, you have gone through a lot of confusion in your life, in your relationships, because of this abuse that you personally experienced. And now that you feel you have healed from it and you are attracting relationships, better relationships, you're still not sure if you have actually fully healed it or not, because you still feel worried for other kids, or other children, or other people, whosoever matters to you. So maybe some incident has happened that has triggered this feeling. Maybe some situation has happened that has triggered this feeling. But you do have problem with people who are too lustful. You do have problem with people who express their sexuality, but you think they could be doing it in a distorted way. So it could be a fear, it could be just a doubt or suspicion, or it could be real also. We don't know that. That is not something that has been discussed in this collective reading, but I'm being shown that you do worry about it. You think that certain people have suspicious characters and you cannot trust them fully, but you also don't have proofs, you also don't have anything physical or substantial to catch hold of them. Or both the things are being shown to me, that it could be something that you need to heal, and probably when you heal it you will realize that maybe there's nothing to worry about, there's nothing wrong has happened in your periphery. So both things you are wondering about. Literally, this is what's written, that sometimes you feel that it's all in your mind, and whosoever you're attracting, you have this magnifying glass. You're not very comfortable with a lot of people. But one more thing has triggered this emotion is that maybe you were actually judging people based on their eating habits or drinking habits or food habits, or the way they behave, the way they react. But no, you have seen maybe someone who drinks alcohol is probably the safest person to be around, and somebody who doesn't drink even a drop may not be that great. Now, I'm not saying this means everyone should drink alcohol, but I'm just saying that you have been thinking about these things, like who is the right person, who are the right people, who represent the right kind of energy. Some people are under addictions because they were themselves thrown into difficult environments, and they react. But can you tolerate their reactions? Can you mingle with them? Do you feel utterly comfortable with them? You have your doubts, but you're also thinking that maybe it's not always about other people, it's about me in this situation. How I react, how I respond, how I give energy and attention, how I give my focus to certain things can make a big difference in my life as well as other people's life. So maybe in the past you have tried to do certain things for other people, for kids, for any other mission, but the confusion has still been there. The confusion, the doubt, the suspicion is still there. You cannot pinpoint exactly what bothers you, and what exactly can you do. Should you just wait for the right time? Should you just uh, keep doing something else, like maybe praying to God? But you do want this confusion to end forever. And even in the world, this is happening. You see, your confusion is being mirrored by the 3D world because of the Epstein files and because of all these things in the news. I sometimes feel that some of it could be about normalizing it because you're seeing it, watching it, hearing it, even if it's bad stuff. But you see, for some time it was there in the news. Now nobody's paying attention to it, nobody cares. So it could be an attempt to normalize it, or it could be an attempt to show you that, hey, you should focus on it. You should not focus on any simulation which is harmful. But there's a way of doing it. You have to first release it, and then automatically it starts working. So you do have problem with certain kind of sexual behaviors. You cannot accept certain kind of sexual behaviors. just because they say it is a sexual way of expressing. You do feel there is some kind of, very strongly you feel, there is some kind of abnormalcy, or there is some kind of chaos attached to it or associated to it. It is not just a religious belief, it is probably a spiritual belief also. And you feel that it is okay to for people to have certain kind of sexual orientation, but just because someone is a certain sexuality doesn't mean that they can just do anything to anyone, justify their urge. Some people say, oh, I had that urge, I could not control that urge, so I did it, blah blah blah. There is a second part also for this feeling, and that is you have also started, for some reason that you still cannot figure out, or maybe it's just your experience of life. As much as you have disliked the perpetrators and felt very much sympathized or empathized towards the victims of any situation, you have also started looking at the perpetrators in a different way. And maybe this is the feeling that you're probably trying to fight. And you are trying to figure out how to fix it, how to deal with it. People deserve the right punishment, but at the same time, we need to understand why they became like this. However, we cannot help someone unless they want to be helped, or we cannot change someone until and unless they want to be changed. But why are you observing it? Why are you a part of this environment? Also, that is a factor that you're thinking about. So, why the perpetrators became the perpetrators in the first place? What made them, what toxicity, what torture, what abuse made them become like this? So I was watching this movie called Spotlight. If you have seen it, you can also watch it. It talks about how religious people have abused little boys in religious places. It's about that. We have Mark Ruffalo as the actor, one of the key actors. And one of the things that struck me about that movie was that one of the abusers says to the camera person that I have never inflicted pain upon anyone, but whatever I did, it was not painful, it was not hurtful. And when this person was a child, so the interviewer says, when I was a kid, I also experienced all of this, but I have not abused. So in the mind of the perpetrator is saying that I never hurt anyone by doing this. They are not yet able to see that whatever they've done is abuse, even if it's not painful, because there are lots of people who groom children. Sexually, they groom children. They don't want to harm children, maybe because for the same reason they were harmed when they were kids or they were hurt. So they think that if I just touch someone, or if I just do these kind of activities, whatever they consider not being harmful, it will probably give some pleasure to them and to the child or whosoever, adult also in some cases. So this person's justification was very strange to me at that time, and it took me a while to understand. So maybe a certain percentage of some of these perpetrators were actually also victims of other victims. They were also abused, and they found out in their own head space that whatever they are doing to someone is not a form of abuse, maybe it's a form of pleasure. They probably don't know if they're grooming someone. They don't even know if they are turning a person into a certain type of sexuality. Like, it may not be their natural tendency, but because of the grooming, because they don't know anything else, because it's familiar energy or familiar experience for them, those people are turning these innocent beings into a certain type of experiencing, like making them experience, so hard to put all this into words right now, making them experience or intervening in their journey in some way to make them experience a certain type of sexual behavior or sexuality. So they are not realizing it, but they are playing a role in it. Now you have been thinking about this as well. You have become more compassionate towards victims as well as perpetrators. Maybe you talk to some perpetrator, maybe you talk to some predator, somebody who had predatory behavior. You talk to that person and you realize that this predator doesn't realize they were also a victim of abuse, and now they're practicing it thinking that it's very normal. It's not normal. Now, at the same time, some of you are like very understanding, very smart individuals. You feel that you have also done some things, maybe they were not so intense, but you have also had some kind of sexual experiences which you're not so proud of now. Or maybe they were experiences that you were just a part of because you did not know any better. But later on, you felt that it's uncomfortable, it's not so nice, it's kind of disgusting. You researched about it and you found out, oh, this is what this is all about. Then you feel used, duped, fooled by certain people, that they made you believe, oh, this is a great experience, you must try it. And then you say, okay, let me try it with some people or somebody, a person maybe. So maybe you were a kid, maybe you were too young to know that you were being taken on a ride for. Whatever it is in your mental state that you're in now, or you were in after you grew out from the discomfort or from the pleasure seeking of certain type of relationship dynamic or sexual behavior or abuse pattern that you're not aware about, you feel that in Hindi we say hosho havas, in your pragmatic thinking or in your normal scenario, you would never be a part of such a thing. It was only maybe because someone offered it to you, like, let's try this out, or maybe someone just, it could be watching stuff, it could probably be just watching stuff, and someone told you, oh, you should watch this kind of content or this kind of movie or this kind of subject or whatever, and you watched it and you were like, what's there? But then you got too much into it, or after watching a couple of them you were very uncomfortable, you didn't want to do it. Whatever it was, I'm just being shown that you figured it out. However, for a certain age group, you cannot justify it for them. At a certain time frame in your life, at a certain mental state in your life, you would probably not be able to justify anything of this nature for anyone. That's how you feel it. And this is the reason why you are not able to understand what is the right type of punishment for someone who has done anything of this nature, whether they were a victim, they were a predator, whether they were a perpetrator, whether whatever it was, they were programmed, whatever the reason was, you still don't know what is the right punishment. What should you do if you ever find out about something, whatever you suspect, or let's say there is no suspicion at all. Let's say that is this, none of this is a scenario, but you're trying to just figure out how to create a safe environment. It could be anything, just taking your kid to the school or creating a school for the kids. It could be just hanging out with people. It could be very normal. And you have this fear that certain people may not be doing the right things or certain people may not be the right people. Then how should you go about it? You don't want such people to roam freely anymore, because as a child you were very upset with this. So for a lot of you have the knowledge, of the understanding, but you are trying to figure out how to create a safe world for everyone, how to create a safe environment. What is safe environment? What is correct environment? Because you've seen such people mingle normally, such people coexist, and then you have been having these interesting experiences of jumping into parallel realities, of you're studying about quantum leaping, you're studying about holistic methods, you're thinking about healing, you're looking at things from a very different space. There are days when you feel that physically there's no way, no point of doing anything, let me do it mentally, let me go within and then figure it out. You're thinking all those things as well. And the confusion is, what should I do? Should I do this or should I not do it? Should I totally surrender or should I not surrender? Or should I use the tools and techniques that are being shown to me, given to me? But there are certain things you're still struggling with, whether you can forgive or not forgive. Certain things matter to you in such a way. Okay. And also, I'm being shown that some of the information was not with you earlier, it is with you now. What do you do with that information? And you know that God did not give you that information at a certain time frame. Like you had all the access to certain things, but you could never figure it out because it was probably not the divine timing for you to know, or maybe for you to handle those things. Why is this being played out? Why this kind of timeline has been given to you? You've always wanted people who are more honest about it. What you like in people is honesty. What you cannot tolerate in people is dishonesty. Transparency, not even dishonesty. You want people to be transparent, and then they should give you the choice whether you want to accept them or you don't want to accept them. Someone walks up to you or you become friends with someone, they show kind of romantic interest in you, and then they tell you that they like to be involved in some kind of group activity while being in a relationship, or let's say they talk about polyamorous relationships, and they give you that option, an open option, that you know what, I am this kind of person and I like to do this with someone, and I'd like my partner to be a part of it as well. Now they're being very honest and transparent with you, and they're giving you the option or the opportunity to choose. And you say, no, that's not my thing. You say that to this person, that's not my cup of tea. And in fact, mentally also, you decide that this is not my cup of tea. You can also very honestly tell to that person that, look, I do like hanging out with you, I do like talking to you, I think you have a very open mind and you have this, that, whatever good qualities. So I also do not want to be indulged in a relationship with you without judging you. If you want to be friends with me, if you want to hang out, blah, 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 it's okay. But this is not something that I can do. So from the very beginning, from day one, you have received information and given information which is very clear and transparent. So you will not attach or associate with that person or with that expectation. But if someone doesn't tell you about it and they still go ahead and do it, or let's say you find out about it, or they've done it in the past but they never told you. Sometimes people past can also be a part of what you want to choose or you don't want to choose. Maybe someone has done some things in the past and it's a big no for you. You would say, no, I would not want to be around you because this is what you've done in the past. Because it's going to make you uncomfortable all the time. You're going to keep thinking about it. That since they've done it in the past, they might do it again. And you don't want to be bothered by it. So transparency, honesty is a part of it also. Even though this, I said in the very beginning, there's an intense energy. This is about abuse. This is about environment. This is about a lot of things, free will, choice. So there is something where you felt with something or with some situation. Sometimes you feel that God has put you in an uncomfortable position where you don't have any other option but to swallow the bitter drink or the bitter pill, which feels like poison. It may not be poison, it will not kill you, you know that, but it's disgusting or yucky. It's like when Samudra Manthan was happening. So there were gods on one side and there were the demons on the other side, and they were churning the ocean. People churn milk and buttermilk and whatnot, but these people were literally churning the ocean. Because in the ocean, within the ocean, in the depth of the ocean, were some really cool things, some very cool gifts or treasures or, powers. They were all inside of it. So they were all churning it together, and it was the demons and the divine beings had to form a team, because alone none of them could do it. They couldn't do it, and this party could not do it. So they decide to come together for the churning of this ocean. And they were told that there will be Amrit. Everybody wants Amrit, the nectar or the drink of immortality. That would be there, and whosoever drinks the Amrit will become an immortal. So basically, this is what they were working hard for. Now, the Devtas or divines becoming immortal, gods, goddesses becoming immortal, okay, they still considered it a good idea. But they didn't want the demons to become immortal. And demons also felt the same way, that why should they become immortals? But let's see, we'll figure it out. First, let's just get the Amrit somehow out of this ocean. So now they're churning and churning. They all want the Amrit, but nobody wants the poison. The poison comes first. And you know who drinks the poison? It's Shiva. Because that's like a condition. You have to consume the poison in order to get the Amrit. Shiva didn't care about the nectar of immortality or the Amrit or anything. He said, give me the poison. Give me the toxicity or whatever it is you want to call it. I think it is all very symbolic. So we are all having this energy of divine and being demons, and there's a energy in both kind of dual energy. We are all here studying duality to ultimately reach singularity. And sometimes it's being in position of Shiva only. How Shiva had to drink the poison and then the Amrit comes out. So sometimes you do feel that all this healing work, all the inner work that you're doing, all this trying to create an environment, a better environment for the world, for the upcoming generation, all of this that you're doing, it is so taxing sometimes. It is so difficult. The challenge is to drink the poison in order to get the drink of immortality or the nectar of immortality, even though you don't want it. You're like, I don't need it, I don't want it, why am I working for this? Like all the puzzles of this game, it becomes one picture, and it's like giving a story or giving a narration that you are in it, you're a part of it for the greater good or for the truth. Maybe one more thing was given to me. Why all of this? So whosoever's energy I channeled, this person told me, or these people collectively gave me this, the spirit guides a part of it too. They said that what you figure out, what you understand eventually, and please comment, please let me know if you resonate with this, that some of you actually figure out that Earth is a school which operates on frequencies and yuga cycles. Yugas come and go, and frequencies are omnipresent too. Somebody can be born in the dark age, but they can experience the golden frequency, the golden age frequency also. And this happens with a lot of ascended masters. This happens with a lot of people who have done very deep, intense inner work. So even if they are surrounded by all the negativity and all the junk, still they are shining in this. So the lotus energy, as I always talk about, they have the lotus energy. They are like the lotus plant, which is in some kind of place, like a murky place, or even if I just talk about water and lotus, then the lotus is detached from the water despite being in the water, right? So Earth is a school that operates on frequencies and yuga cycles. Yugas come and go from golden age to dark age, and these cycles, they keep happening, they keep repeating. But Earth is the most important place for everybody to come here and exist. Whether you're a divine being, whether you're an alien, whether you're an extraterrestrial, whether you're this soul, that soul, whatever you are, whosoever you are, twin flame, star seed, light worker, karmic soul, whatever you are, everybody is coming to this place. There is something about this place that everybody is coming here for whatever reason. So certain people play a part and a role, and they volunteer to experience certain frequencies. There are some souls who chose to go through this existence or this simulation or this experience, even though it sounds really strange and you don't fully understand it yet. You don't fully understand it yet, but you resonate. You have some resonance. Some people experience it. It's a part of a voluntary program, and collectively they volunteer for it. So let's say some very high vibrational souls enter Earth space, and let's say there are 50 people, they all volunteer to be a part of a witch burning ceremony or whatever ceremony or torture. Or 1,000 people are born at a time when the uh, invasions are happening, 1,000 or 1,000,000 people. So they have all volunteered to be a part of a certain act, a simulation. Collectively, it's a lower frequency, and so many people are a part of this lower vibrational frequency because they need to keep Earth at a certain collective frequency. It also means that some people have volunteered to outgrow from this or not be affected by it. Like they're literally born in that place, but yet they are like, I will not care about it, or I will not contribute to the lower frequency, I will contribute to surrender. But still, we are all in it together. Nobody is special or nobody is better. It's just an experience. So, people have volunteered to watch and experience something horrible, to exist collectively in lower frequency, but then sometimes we act out of knowledge. So if it's a part of the VR, if it's a part of simulation, then you don't need to do anything, right? You just need to watch it. But in some cases, people have also volunteered to watch it, do something about it, play a kind of role in it. So there are some people who don't want to be bothered by all of this, but there are also those people who actively invest in these roles and they create missions. Some things come naturally to all of us, and surrender is the only way, because later on, if you're going through all of this, universe will open the door to answer questions or show you things that could be unknown to you right now. Fully you may not know a lot of things, but let's say 50% you know, 70-80% you know, or you have the knowledge but you're not able to let go of certain insecurities, certain fears, certain bad experiences. You're trying your best to learn from it, but sometimes you're a human. Being human is a very important place. As I said, being part of this Earth School program is an important space to be in. So surrender, 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 surrender is the key. Keep doing your inner work. Keep doing whatever you're doing. You are doing the right thing. I don't think people can resonate with this information until and unless they are meant for it. So, yeah, I will see you in the next one. One love, peace out, and victory to Ram.